All right. Hello. Is it working, Brooke? Okay, hello. There we go. They magically take care of it in the back of the room. Woohoo. Thank you. So welcome, everyone. Is it like church? Preaching to the chairs. So we've got lots on the agenda today. There's lots of things happening, lots of things going on, and lots of people are going to be talking today, so that's always a good thing. First thing I'll do is kind of go over the highlights from your baby's growing. You look good. Go over the highlights from the board meeting, sorry. Do you want to stand up and show everybody? They're all like, who's she talking about? Who's she talking about? You look great. So the board meeting this month, we had our students from Allison, where are you? What is it, N?
National Society of Leadership and Success.
National Society of Leadership and Success. Our students did a presentation to the board about their organization. Very impressive. The organization's been on campus for 2 years, and they have 262 student members. And the students really talked about their working with each other and having a family at Kish and supporting each other. And that's what we're all about. That's what retention is, they say that if you can how you keep students on a college is that they make a connection with someone. And that's what student activities and student life is masterful at, and that organization is just really impressive. And then Bob Johnson says after the presentation, that's why we do what we do. Our board members, just to say it again, they're volunteers and they spend hours and hours and hours doing a lot of work for this college. So it's always impressive, and it keeps them going by hearing these student presentations. I also then did a presentation on our community listening sessions, and I'll show that at the end after I'm done here, just kind of doing a summary of the community listening sessions. There's a couple more things we're going to do before we actually start to roll out some specific goals from the listening sessions that I did with the staff. And then the community listening sessions, we're going to do a few things with the board, and then we'll be rolling it out in August. And we're going to do some things at our fall in-service, formerly known as colloquium. So there was lots of budget conversation. I'll talk a little bit about the email that I had sent out regarding our good news on budget. So here's the best part of that we are about $800,000 ahead of what we budgeted for in state aids for the entire year in one semester. So that's really good news, really good news. When I sent it to the board, I said this is the best email I'm sending since I've been president. So it was very exciting to be able to say that we're doing that well budget-wise. But there are a couple of things in our budget that we need to talk about before we start spending the money. We had made a shift about a month and a half ago, where we said, well, our enrollments are looking really good, so let's go flat in our budgeting for next year, and our enrollments aren't so good anymore. Our fall enrollments have dipped quite a bit. Now we're hoping that it has to do with timing and lots of other things, and that we're going to rebound on some of that. Our summer is still strong, 6.3%. We kicked it this summer, did a great job. But the fall is down, so we're probably thinking that a lot of summer enrollments were students who are maybe going to different schools and just taking summer classes. And I see some student services people nodding their heads, and they probably know best that because they see these students coming through. We'll get them. Maybe they'll go away to another school and they won't do as well, and they'll be back to Kish for college. We'll hope. Our graduation, that happens. Only 25% of all people who start a bachelor's degree actually finish it. And our graduation speaker, remember him at graduation, our IT young man, he talked about that, how he went away and then he came to Kish and graduated. So we're going to get them on the flip side because they had such a great experience here this summer. Or they're just going to see the light and realize how good we are. So our enrollments are down a little bit, so we're going to need to save a little bit of that extra money not budgeted and probably put a little bit more back in the budget for enrollment. Our reserves are down from last year, and they're a little bit below where we want them to be. We should be around 25% of our operational budget. Our operational budget is just a little bit over 20 million. So you want to have our reserves 10, 5, around 5 million, and we're at 3.1 or 3.6 or 3.2. 3.19 today, but we might get a little bit more of it. There's some ABE stuff going on, and so, okay, Jill's nodding her head. She's keeping me honest on the math. Remember the one presidential briefing where she told me I was off on my math? So we need to get that up a little bit. So that's a little over $1 million shy there, and we've got 800,000. So we'll put it in there for now. We cut over $1 million in projects out of our budget for the current year, and that's things like carpet and what else? Computers, parking lots, just lots of things that we had said we need to fund. We went down the list and said, okay, we have no money, so what are the absolute essentials? And so we took that just over $1 million list and took it down to 160,000. So if we get a little bit more money, we probably need to save some of it for, I heard in one part of our college it rains tar sometimes. We probably need to fix some things like that. So we'll need to allocate some there. And also, here's another thing about state aids. We need to work as a college to stay away from funding salaries with state aids so that when the state aids don't come in, we don't have to lay people off. If we can get to the point where our local property taxes and our tuition revenue is supporting salaries, we're going to be a less volatile college. And that's a really good thing for everybody to not be worried about, are they going to be part of a RIF? So we want to be mindful of that. Now there are going to be spots where we're going to say, you know what, we need to spend the state money on some positions just because we've got stuff we've got to do. One of the things we just talked about at President's Council, which was our first meeting today, is we talked about how are people doing? How are you hearing that some workloads are kind of crazy? And I heard about a few things today, and so it was really good. It's going to be a great group of people, and they're going to give a lot of really good input. So we've got some things we're going to have to address. But the good news is we're not negative. We're not underwater. We're above water. And that's a really positive thing. So it's still good news. While we can't go out and spend it yet, it's still really good that we have it and that we've more than balanced our budget. So we're going to move forward on that. So like I said, lots of things on budget on this board agenda. And I'll just quickly go over my report and then I'll do the PowerPoint. I already talked about enrollments. Truck driving. Some of you may have noticed that we're offering now some truck driving training on our campus. The parking lot between the softball and baseball fields, we've kind of turned into a makeshift training. Here's a really good problem. Businesses said they needed more truck driver training. We were busting at the seams at the space we're leasing in Rochelle, so we're offering it on our campus. So this is a really good problem to have. It also is demonstrating to businesses that we're very responsive. Joanne and Joe are making us a whole bunch of money, so that's a really good thing. Kevin and his crew, that the facilities folks are figuring out how we can make that work out there to offer some truck driver training on our campus. So this is a really great thing, and it's a really positive thing that's happening in that area of our college. Lots of meetings going on. I continue to meet monthly with the union representation. This month when I met with Dave and Tony, we talked a little bit about how the IBB, the interest-based bargaining process, is going for negotiations, and they felt like it was going well. Sedgwick and Jamie, who are leading that initiative from the administrative side, have also reported that they feel like it's going very well. So we're moving forward, and we're doing some good things there on being collaborative and how we get our interests met mutually in a different format. So we'll continue to do that. I already talked about the President's Council. I had a 6-month review this week. And I just want to highlight a couple of things that we have accomplished as a college in the last 6 months. There is nothing I do, nothing I will ever do, that I do alone. at Kishwaukee College. It's really all about the team and how everybody works together. And so I did read through some of these things at the board meeting because I think it's really important that we acknowledge the fact that everybody is working really hard to do what they can do. So I'm going to talk about a few that I really didn't have much to do with, but other people did, and it was really great. We added a mobile app. We added the interactive map. We got our walking map. And we met our candidacy for the nursing program. So lots of good leadership there. Some other things that I discussed at the board meeting were creating a culture of kindness and transparency, and I hope we're getting there. But yet we're also doing that in a climate of holding people accountable. We are doing these presidential briefings, helping to foster the communication out in the college. We've held a lot of staff listening sessions. We are doing the President's Council, monthly meetings with the union. We've settled our adjunct faculty contract very quickly, thanks to those people who were leading that. Working with our K-12s, we've done a lot of things already in fostering relationships, increasing the number of dual credit offerings that we have out there. We're looking at the cost of dual credit to make sure that all students, no matter what their income level, are able to participate in dual credit. We're going to continue to work on getting out there and doing things, and Bryce has got a big job, and we're all going to be supportive, and Bernie's out there. Bernie, are you here? I thought I saw you come in. There you are. My friend Bernie, who's going to get a bike in my front yard yet. A small one. Oh, money. Oh, how much am I going to pay? I absolutely will pay. Nothing is free. So we're going to continue to do that, get out to our high schools and work with parents. Finance. We balanced our budget. We got through the RIF. We're reducing our state dependency, our college dependency on state aids. We went from 22% down to 10%. We did increase our summer enrollments, and while it's short-lived, it's only 3 months, but it was our first enrollment increase in 4 years, and so that's still something to be proud of. We settled the JJR contract lawsuit. I don't know if anybody is aware of what's been going on with our ball diamond and our fence, but we have been in litigation since that was built, and we finally settled it. And we are getting $390,000. We've probably invested as a college just under $500,000 when you add in all of our legal fees and the cost of the fence and everything. But we feel really good without having to actually go to court that we finally got it settled and we got a good chunk of that money. So that's a huge deal. We've got a great product development plan going. Mark and his team are leading that to explore new programs and continue our growth at the college. We've changed our out-of-district tuition rate, hopefully getting more CT students to enroll in our programs. We've changed our wait list, our student drops, our payment fees. We've got direct dial phones. We discontinued the student portfolio. We are working on a goal setting process, which I mentioned we'll work on more in August. And we're making a plan to meet our accreditation need starting this fall. It'll be about a 1.5-year process. And we started some foundational work on changing our athletics to be more focused on local athletes. So those are some of the things in the last 6 months that are occurring and will continue to occur. And they said they're going to let me stay for at least another 6 months, so that's good news, I think. Any reaction from the crowd? I say this all the time, you're not a leader if you turn around and there's nobody behind you, so I hope you're all behind me. So what I want to just share quickly, one of the presentations I did at the board meeting was to show, okay, Kevin, are we all set? To show, we did some thematic clumping, such a technical word. Mark has assured me, my English major friend here, that it's okay that I say words that are a little weird. It's just part of my charm. So, but we tried to put together themes that we heard in the listening sessions we've done. We've got one more next week. We're thinking we're probably going to hear, because we're starting to get some of the same themes, but wanted to get this out because this is very instrumental in us starting to develop our goals. We want to use the feedback. So we conducted listening sessions with community members in our district to solicit suggestions on input and how we can enhance our workforce and economic development. Here's where the listening sessions were held, and like I mentioned, the DC-EDC one is this coming week. So here's the purpose of the listening sessions. It gave me an opportunity to hear from community members, just what are we doing well, where are our opportunities. We need to solicit feedback as part of our accreditation process. It's part of AQUIP that you are out there soliciting feedback from your stakeholders. We wanted to determine how we best connect with our business community. That is one of the things I had heard quite a bit when I first got here, is that for the last few years, that relationship between the college and the business community had kind of tapered off. And so wanted to figure out how we go about that strategically to reconnect to our business community. And then it's time for us to maybe revisit our mission and vision, and that will be something the board will be discussing if we want to look at that, but maybe it's just time to at least look at it. Again, continuous quality improvement. So we asked the participants their perspectives on our strengths and opportunities, and so here's how we themed the responses. So here's what we do well, folks. We're a great alternative for undecided students, our faculty and our class sizes, our quality, our price, how we connect to our high schools, how we connect to the community. We bring the entire region together, and we have great career tech. I got more slides of improvements. How can we improve, and what are our opportunities? Reaching down to middle school students, have every high school student touched by KISH in some way before they graduate. More CTE, the career tech opportunities for dual credit in the high schools, reaching out to our non-traditional students, teaching students to be lifelong learners. This was a very interesting discussion, and this one occurred when we were on campus with about 30 business leaders, and they were talking about how our students are going to have to do jobs that haven't even been created yet, that aren't even out there yet. And so what we have to do is help them learn how to be lifelong learners. So when technology changes and things change, how can they move into those new jobs? And that's a very interesting concept. So talking about soft skills and teaching them how to be good learners. Expand options for Spanish speakers. That we, in our ABE area, our Spanish classes fill up right away, and so we need to make sure that we have opportunities for those who need those services, that they're available. I'm guessing, Joanne, was that part of the issue with our decreased ABE funding, or is it more than that? Are we seeing an increase in demand, or?
For Spanish speakers?
Yes.
That actually, Spanish speakers have kind of leveled off.
Okay.
We're seeing in our ESL classes, although we're seeing a lot who want the Spanish GED and then are trying to transition into the college.
Okay, so because she wasn't on a microphone, I'll just repeat it for those watching it on video. A need for more Spanish-speaking GED so students can transition into our programs, which is a really good thing. Increasing our online opportunities. This one came up quite a bit. So that students who can't get to our campus or fit it into their schedule, that they have options still to go to school. This one came up a lot about recruiting our students locally versus recruiting out of state or out of Chicago. So we're starting a plan to do more of that. We need to communicate our pathways, how students transfer from us into different institutions. The counselors are working on that project right now, so that's great. Promote the 2-year high salary options that we have coming out of the college. We need more welding. It's probably been a theme for a while. Making sure students know how to get their education opportunities. Again, our pathways will help that, but really understanding what are your opportunities after you leave KISH. Making sure everyone is aware of our career tech opportunities and the jobs that they can get when they're done. Internship opportunities, we're already kind of working on that. I know Bill and Joanne and some other people are already digging into that one. Sponsored networking opportunities, how we bring people together in workforce development, that there were some who felt like we could play a major role in bringing those stakeholders together. and paying more attention to the western part of the region. And specifically, we heard this a lot out in the Rochelle area, that we need to pay more attention. There is a lot going on business-wise in Rochelle, a lot of growth, so they have a demand for workers, and so we just need to spend more time out there. I was there the last 2 days. I've been in Rochelle, so I'm getting to know the community a lot better. Another one, create the bus route to and from Sycamore. Goodbye, Jill. She pointed me out, so I have to get her back. Program offerings in warehousing. Warehousing is a huge industry here. Is there some logistics and things that we could look at? Agriculture classes. Ag is the foundation of our communities, and we've gotten to the point where we have horticulture, but not a whole lot else. So we're looking at a couple of options and opportunities to enhance our coursework in agriculture. I have heard so much lately about our horticulture program and how much people love it and how much people think it's really important, a really important part of our college. I didn't realize the significance of that program until just the last couple of weeks, so that's been really kind of interesting as well. Experiences for parents. We need to help parents recognize and understand all the great jobs that students can get by coming here. Surveying businesses. I talked about that earlier, the point of contact. Tell the stories of our graduates. Katie and I have already talked about the next Pride, really focusing on how our local graduates have been so successful in our businesses in our local communities. So we're going to put more emphasis on that, and creating an alumni association. Oh, did I miss one? Nope, that's it. Good. Whew, that's a lot. So what are we going to do going forward? We're going to take more time, take the time to investigate and to really put together a plan for how we address these issues. We've started some work on the senior leadership team. I presented a little bit more at the board meeting, but I'm going to stop here because the board has asked to provide a little bit more intervention into this next step, and so we will have that ready. They're going to do a retreat prior to the August board meeting, where we're going to kind of prioritize some things and put it in a little bit different order, and then so at the next presidential briefing, I'll share kind of what we're going to do, and then roll out it even more at our fall in-service, and talk about how goal setting becomes a college initiative, and how we're going to get buy-in across the college on these major initiatives that we're going to try to tackle. So, any questions on any of that? Good, thank you. All right, so let's move on to the next topic. And I think that might be you, Katie. I thought you were going to be late. What happened there? No time for conference calls. Oh, did you want that? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Wait, is it okay to close it?
Yes, close it, please. Thank you.
Give me just 1 second.
While she's getting set up in the interest of time, I should turn this back on. While she's getting set up in the interest of time, I can talk a little bit about some changes with our foundation. Not there. We're going through some changes in the leadership of the foundation, and you all probably have heard by now that Marshall Hayes has resigned. So we're moving in a new direction in the interim. Bill Nicholas, most of you know Bill, will be stepping in as interim director, taking care of the major donors, the finances and things like that related to the foundation. Katie Hamill is taking on events and kind of the day-to-day operational things that are going on in the foundation. Beth Young has stepped up, and she's doing more. We've got some financial reporting and things that we need to get out to our donors, and so she's going to be more involved in doing some of that work. Noka is still with the foundation, so we're happy about that. And we're going forward, and right after this, I'm going over to meet with the foundation board, and we'll see what their opinion is of how we move forward. So just wanted to update that. We will get out an email as well that Marshall has departed, but as with all personnel issues, we have to wait and we have to respect the privacy of people. So there won't be any more information in it than that. And, but we will be moving forward and we will continue to build our foundation.
Okay. How's everybody doing? Good. I just want to take a moment to share with you guys the new internal room reservation form. We shared this, enrolled it out, I believe, in May, but I kind of just want to take an opportunity to walk through it with you. With Pat Zome's retirement at the end of June, we took the opportunity to kind of look at the process for reserving rooms and put everything into one form request. So similar to before, you could, under employee resources is the room reservation form, so it's in the same location, it just has a little bit of a different format. But you'd still enter your name, department, extension, event date, start and end time, your title, the description of the event, preferred location, your number of attending, and comments. And then you would keep scrolling down, and so this is the new part. So now when you do the room reservation, you would, if there is a room setup that is different to what is currently being used, you would click yes. If you need tables, chairs, skirting, podium, any of that, you would enter it here. If you need media services, that's different than what's already in the room, if you know what the room is, you would click on here and you'd fill that out here. And then if you need catering, you would click on here as well. And then you would hit the submit button. Close that down here. So then what happens to the form after you hit submit is right now Sarah Hall and I will be the one taking care of the internal room reservations. Sarah has graciously stepped up to be able to help me coordinate that during this transition process. So we will get those emails, and then what we'll do is a box pops up here for us that we then enter the room confirmation, and then we hit submit, and then you as the end user for requester get that form back. And then so you get verified what room we did book you in, and then at the same time that you get that confirmation, it then goes to media services, media services, custodial maintenance, and Andrea Walsh and Kish Cafe. And so from there, they then will book and put all of your reservation stuff into their systems to make your reservation happen. We'll still be doing external reservations the way they are done previously. So if you ever booked rooms for external organizations, please continue to utilize the same fashion where you could just reach out to me and we'll do the actual contract that we've done historically for that. As we go through this transition period, we are finding things that we need to make sure we address, and so we are modifying the form as needed. So if you find that it's not meeting a need that you have, please let us know, and we're happy to investigate and see what we need to do. We've added a button for unlocking doors, so to make sure that doors do get unlocked. We've had a couple issues with that, and we're addressing that. Same thing with room signs. We're working through that process on making sure the needed rooms have signs outside of them. We're also asking that if you have a room that you need a sign out, if you're willing to help out, we'd greatly appreciate that. The good news is, the really good news is we have hired somebody to come in to the position of part-time that begins August 1st, and that is Beth Hansen. So she will be coming back August 1st in the conference center coordinator position. So we are excited to have her back, and I think she'll do a tremendous job helping us in that capacity. Any questions regarding the room reservations, Robert?
Yeah, we got one of those a couple weeks ago, and it indicated that the room needed to be changed, but it didn't indicate to what. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I had the quiet dining room was reserved for something, and it said room needs to be changed. Didn't say what to.
Robert asked that he got a reservation a couple weeks ago about a room that needed to be changed.
Well, it says, you got it on there. I'm sorry.
Do you want to walk up to the microphone? That would be helpful.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. No problem.
It says here, does the room need to be set up different than currently there? And it said yes.
And maybe
But
what we need to
why?
do is clarify, because it's also being clicked if the room needs to be unlocked.
Right,
So we
but-
just need to make sure that it needs to be clarified.
Yeah, because it would have been nice to tell us what do we want. Do we want a square, a triangle, an octagon? Do you want
Yep.
square tables, circular? I mean, we're there to do it, but
Right.
we need the information.
Gotcha. We will clarify that and make sure that gets
Because that's what
updated.
and in fact, I
Yep.
tried to find out about it, and it was like, uh-oh. And I tried to call the person that was on it, and they were gone. So
Okay. Yep, we can make sure that gets addressed on the phone.
that's the only thing
form is filled out. Yep.
that kind of was odd about it, but we did get it okay. We got it all set up okay. It just was because I just took the walls down, which is what they wanted, but there was nothing like, okay, rearrange the tables into a square. You know, usually it's
Sure.
like square, U.
Yep, the purpose of these meetings really is because as we roll out new things to
Oh,
give
yeah,
the
yeah,
feedback.
yeah, but
So
I'm just
thank
trying to-
you. We'll get it changed.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank
sure,
you.
sure. But I'm just trying to say this now, and so it can be, you know, if I'm saying it's something to get taken care of now.
Yep.
Unless, that's all I'm saying. So
Nope,
it'd make it
appreciate the
easier.
feedback.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Anybody else have any other questions regarding room reservations? And again, if you think of anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to Sarah or I. We are happy to help and make sure that the service continues in the same capacity it has always been in. Okay, thank you.
Is that it?
I think so.
Okay.
Unless there's anything else.
I wasn't sure if that was the end of the presentation, but yeah, whenever we go through changes, that's the point where I was trying to make. Whenever we go through changes, we know there's going to be hiccups, so we appreciate you bringing up the hiccup, and we'll get it fixed. Next, Kevin, you're up. Do you want this, or are you going to talk here?
I think that would be fine. I'll stand behind.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed on just some changes in facilities. If you didn't know, one of the changes is me. Of course, I've only been over facilities for a few months, so if you didn't know that, I ran into somebody the other day that didn't know that. So I'm the vice president over facilities now, which includes custodian, grounds, and maintenance. Another big change in facilities is, those of you who have been here for a while know that for many, many years, we had Airmark here. Airmark does two things for us. They did the facility side, and then they did the food service side. So one of the things that we looked at this year was kind of the value in what we were getting from Airmark versus what we were paying. And so one of the decision that we made was to end that relationship with Airmark. So 2 weeks ago, that ended. And so June 30th was their last day on campus. And what we decided to do was to bring those things that Airmark did in-house and hire our own facilities manager, or director of facilities. Before that was Mike Carapis. He was actually, if you didn't know, an Airmark employee, and all the employees here, custodians and so forth, are Kish employees. But we decided to bring that in-house, and so I'm pleased to announce that Keith Lamb, if you want to stand up, Keith, wave to everybody. Keith Lamb is our new facilities director. This is his third day on the job. So Keith, some of you might know Keith. He comes to us from Rochelle. He served for 16 years there directing their Rochelle Township High School, both in the old facility and then the new one. And if you've been out there and been to their campus, you know that it's kind of a sparkling clean place. And so he brings a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge to him and with him, and so we're pleased to have Keith on board. Just some other things that are going on in facilities is one of the things that we're going to be working on over the next semester is a sense of the condition of the facilities in specific detail. So we're looking to do a facilities condition report that'll tell us, where our chillers and heaters and parking lots and so forth are, so that we can develop a longer-term plan and help with budgeting so that we know projects that are coming up. One of the things you might be seeing, we're looking at the south parking lot, particularly the older version right outside of the student center. You might have noticed that's a little bit chewed up. So we're going to be looking at things like that and how to improve that, because that can become an issue if we let that go too long. So, but anyway, so those are just a couple of the things. And Keith will be here. He's got the same extension as Mike did. You can find his email, and he's going to be the point of contact. A big part, if I can just say one other thing, a big part will be developing those relationships with people. And so Keith will be out there getting to know each of the areas and facility needs, and so that's going to be a big part of kind of what we do. So that's it.
Okay, good. Thank you, Kevin. So Keith said he wanted a project, he's got a project. We got a project. I have spent some time recently, probably in the last couple of months was my first venture over there. We received a donation from the Community Foundation for a piece of welding equipment. It was the first time I had been in the welding lab and in the welding classroom, and honestly I was incredibly embarrassed that we were bringing a community leader into that space considering the condition. And we are fixing that. They've been doing a great job. They got a new piece of equipment for welding, and so this is the equipment, right, that the Community Foundation purchased, am I right? Yes? And so they needed to get it cleaned up to do that, and we are working on doing some cleaning. We've got a cleaning company coming in soon. We're going to have it cleaned before school starts. We're doing some painting out in Kishwaukee. We're getting some of our student spaces looking like they should have looked, and I felt kind of bad that it took me that long to get over there to actually see the space. I mean, I had walked through, but I didn't really look. And now once you start looking, you know how that goes, right? Once you start looking, you really start to see things. So it's unfortunate that we let the condition of some of our student learning spaces get to that point, in my opinion, and we need to rectify that. And so there will be some resources going into getting some of that space looking like a college. So we're working on it. And I know the staff over there are working really hard as well to get it to a better place. So I appreciate that, and you got a project. But we're going to get there. All right, Beth. Beth has some changes too.
Okay, as many of you know, that there has been some changes in the business office. One is the departure of the former VP of Finance and Administration, and then me being appointed as the CFO, and also the retirement of Jackie Zick. So that kind of left some empty spaces, or not, I shouldn't say empty spaces, but some workload that we needed to redistribute. And I think it's very critical that everybody is aware of who is doing what, so that your processes don't get bogged down because you don't know who to come to within the business office. So what I've put together is a responsibility chart. It's a flow chart that outlines everybody in the business office and what they do. Keep in mind, this is a chart that I put together so that I know what my staff does. So when I show it, you're only going to see like 3 things under my name. That is because those are things that Jackie Zick used to do that now is going on my plate, so that people can pinpoint those particular items instead of listing out all the normal stuff that I had done in the past.
Which she still does.
I know you probably cannot read this, but I have put it out on the business office portal page. On the landing page of the business office, you'll see it right under, next to the business office hours. It'll say responsibility chart. Just click on it, it'll bring this up. And it's also at the bottom of the Contact Us page there as well. So there'll be 2 places within the business office portal page that you can see this. I just kind of wanted to show it to you so you kind of knew what you were looking for. There are a few major changes that I wanted to point out. One of them is Jill Hansen. As Dr. Borowitz pointed out, Jill had to leave. Jill actually had to leave to go to a foundation board meeting. Jill is becoming the Director of Fiscal Services and will be leading the foundation financial pieces. She's going to be handling the entire audit, doing their financial quarterly reports, sitting on their finance board, and sitting on the foundations board. And with that role, she's also elevated to be my backup, so that if I'm off campus or I'm in a meeting, there is somebody in the business office that you can go to get those answers without having to wait for me to come back or get out of a meeting. She's there, she's got the ability and has a very strong leadership and knowledge in what the business office does and in all the finances of the college. So she's there to help you as well in my absence. A couple other things that I wanted to point out. As you come into the business office, you might have noticed lately that Sarah Eggleston no longer sits in one of the front three workstations. I have moved Sarah Eggleston off to the side in one of the cubicles because her role currently is going to be focusing on the accounts payable piece. She will be your contact if you have an issue, if budget adjustments need to be done, if transfers need to be made, if you need to know about a payment on an invoice, you're going to contact her. She's very efficient, she's very good at what she does, and I would like for her to focus on that piece. And as many of you know, if she was sitting in the front line, as soon as that door opened, boom, she's up to help you. So in order to help her focus, I had to move her off to the side, which is a good quality for her to have. It's not anything bad, but that's just something that I think I need to do in order to help the accounts payable piece and help purchasing. Because with only having one person in our purchasing department, there's a lot of clerical pieces that Kathy needs help with. And Sarah is going to be able to reach out and help with that piece as well. The next thing, when you open up the responsibility chart, the major things are down here in the corner. So if you don't want to read the whole process. The next is the financial aid billings and the facility rental invoice. Jackie Zick used to do those. Those are coming to me. The financial aid billings are like KCDE, College Illinois, any third party that issues a voucher to a student, and that voucher goes to the financial aid office and they post it to the student's account to cover their tuition. The business office has to invoice that third party in order to get payment. I am taking on that responsibility so that I can determine if we need some efficiencies to that process and to determine exactly what type of workload it is so we can determine the best spot for it in the business office. Then the second one is the facility rental invoice, which is the Pat Zilm area. As Katie mentioned earlier, we have a new part-time person coming on staff on August 1st. I did not want to change our current process until Beth Hansen comes on board, has a chance to get her feet wet, because she could come up with some brilliant ideas to make our process even smoother. So we chose to keep that in the business office, and I'm going to be doing that until Beth comes on board and we can determine what's the best option. Next is sponsorship billing, and what that is that our corporate company sponsorships that pay for students' tuition to come to Kishwaukee College. Kelly Kirsten is going to be doing that. And you might think that's kind of an odd because she doesn't sit within the business office. Kelly Kirsten was the perfect person to have do this because when her role in the bid center, she handled section sponsorships. So this has been a very smooth transition. She's got the knowledge. So any company that is paying for their employee to come to Kishwaukee College, we have to apply that information to a student's account, and that's through the sponsorship process. So Kelly will be handling that. The paperwork still is going to get initiated at the business office, and then we'll get it communicated down to Kelly so that we don't have students going down to the administrative wing trying to find Kelly. That'll still get funneled through the business office. We don't want students wandering all over, finding out where to put this paperwork. Next is the insurance piece. The college insurance, such as athletic insurance or liability insurance, that was previously handled by Amy Ludwig. When she resigned, it came to the business office and it got divided between Jill and Tina. we decided with Kelly coming back on board full-time that that insurance piece was going to go back to that administrative assistant position. So any questions you have regarding the company's insurance, not the employee benefit piece, not your medical, vision, that is still HR. This is the college insurance pieces will go through Kelly. Student refunds, those are going to be funneled through Tina Musselman. And then the last is payments. Those are any type of checks for fundraising, if you're a club advisor, and when you bring money up to the business office. Andrea Bolton has come back to Kishwaukee College as our part-time business office clerk. And then we have Donna Keller as well. They will be handling any type of check, cash, student tuition payments that come up. Child care payments, basically anything to do with cash or checks that you come to the front counter for. Sarah Eggleston is still a backup cashier because we do need 3 people there on tuition due dates, the first week of school, because it gets kind of crazy. But during the regular non-busy times, all payments will get funneled through Donna and Andrea. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. So there's just one last area that we've got a few changes that I want to talk about, and then we're going to open it up to some positivity. I have asked Michelle Rothmeyer to step up and report directly to me. Temporarily, enrollment is a huge initiative at our college. And I felt like at this point in time, it needed its own leader to really lead those efforts and work directly with me. Sedgwick is leading our IBB. I talked about that earlier. That is a big job. It's I think, a lot more time than we recognized it was going to take to do that. And so he's also leading the athletics changes, which is also a big initiative. And we're going through some growing pains right now, and the media is very curious about what's going on with athletics out here. So there's just a few things, and just to make sure then that things are moving forward, I've got Michelle in the interim while IBB is going on, working directly with me. So the counselors are funneled up through Michelle. Currently, Nancy is still supervising them, but she is staying with Sedgwick, and Sedgwick has kept everything else that he's had, just the AR&R and recruitment, and then the counselors and retention. Anything that's directly enrollment will go under Michelle. So with that, I'll open it up to any questions, or if you have anything positive you want to share today. No questions? Comments? Thoughts? Food? Yes. You gotta come and talk in the microphone. Sorry. Those IT people, they're very particular. I know that, RJ.
I was just curious. I remember one of your items was revisiting the college mission and vision. How often? It's probably by institution basis, but how often is that kind of reevaluated and the college given a new mission and goal and dream?
In the past, it looks like Kish has re-looked at them about every 5 years. It was last done in 2012, so we're in the fall of 16. And I think, the rate of change is growing. And as long as we're looking at the goals and things, I think what happened is we started to set goals, and then there was a feeling that this seems like more than goals. This almost is like developing into a strategic plan. So I think that's why we started then. And then I just heard some comments about our vision and mission, and people thought maybe it's a good time to just look at it again. Not saying we're going to change it, it's just we're going to start looking at it. Thanks. Yep. So it's been 4 years now, so by the time we get it done, it'll be probably 2017, so it'll again be 5 years. Takes a while to do these things. One of the things we're going to start talking about too that I think is going to be pretty exciting is our 50th anniversary. It's in 2 years, and I think it's probably going to take us about 2 years to plan it. So we'll probably, because it's going to be a really big deal. I did hear a lot about that in the community with these community listening sessions. A lot of the people who attended them were people who've got some history with the college. So they're going to want to be involved and give us some great ideas, and that's wonderful. We came actually up with some cool, Katie and I had a meeting with a marketing firm this morning just to get some ideas, and it was more of a social, like, this person did something for me, so I was being kind, but it actually turned into a really good meeting. So came away with some ideas. So that'll be fun. We'll be looking for volunteers who want to participate on that committee to give ideas about our 50th anniversary celebration. Anything else? Do we have anything positive? Jerry?
I'm pleased to announce the radiography students have started taking their boards. Everybody has passed. There's we have one student remaining who needs to take her boards. I'm confident she's going to pass, so we should be at 100%.
That is excellent. Matt? Oh, he's got his phone out.
I've got a list here. It's been a lot of good stuff, and I know I missed some stuff in here as well. As you mentioned earlier, we did get our large 8-foot metal shear, and it was fun to watch the ballet of 2 forklifts to get it off of the truck and into the shop. But that's good. And again,
How much did that weigh again?
12,500 pounds, and somehow the rigging company, their notes had 5,000 or 8,000 pounds. So when they couldn't pick it up with their one big forklift they brought, we got to do the ballet with 2 forklifts. But it was good. And it's in, and so again, a kudos to maintenance and custodial for the help in getting that space cleaned up and actually getting the floor sealed while all of that was out, so that we could actually have a beautiful spot to put it in when we brought the new piece of equipment in.
Should have an open house when it's done.
There's still a lot of work to do, but yeah, but yes.
That's a
definitely.
great idea. When the painting's done and the new floor is in the welding classroom and the cleaning is done.
Yep, oh yeah, we'll be able to cut big pieces of metal. It's going to be great. Skills USA, I hope everybody had a chance to see the press release that went out and the stuff that was on Facebook. But again, a big thank you to Greg and Dave Damon for the work that they did in going to the Skills USA National Leadership and Skills Contest. It was, I think, 9th in the nation for our crime scene investigation team. And Greg, can you help me out? I'm blanking on the details. So 9th in power equipment technology with one of our diesel students.
Criminal, crime scene was 10th.
Oh, 10th, sorry.
And customer service was 11th.
So 11th in customer service. So we had really good representation. Kishwaukee College also has the post-secondary vice president for Illinois Skills USA. So she was there representing the college and all of Illinois career and technical education as our post-secondary vice president. Oh, gosh. AIFD, Janet Gallagher's not here, but if you don't know, it's the International Floral Design Group. We actually won first place in body flowers. So, yeah, whatever. So that was exciting.
Is that like that show, what's that show where they're doing all the tattoos on people?
I think it's corsages and boutonnieres, but it might be. But Janet's more versed in that.
Whoops.
So if you also had a chance to check out Facebook today, I know everybody was working diligently, and we'll check it out when they get home. But we did also post a picture of our beehive that's on campus between the Astro Building and the Veggie Garden. Right now, by my estimation, when I checked it out this morning, we have about 20 pounds of honey so far. So that'll be good. We'll have to figure out what we're doing with it, but it's good there. You may or may not have heard, likely haven't heard, but a local company, Enbridge Energy, they are a pipeline, energy pipeline company, and they just announced that they are going to again offer 5 $1,000 scholarships for students in our welding and AET programs as they look to fill their technical fields that again, they have high demand, really high wage jobs, and they want to partner with us again, in addition to the donations that they make of very expensive materials that we don't have to buy then. Darn it, RJ, can you extend the time on how often I have to log back in?
I know, can't we have a little bit longer time before we have to put in the passcode?
And then again, another thank you to our custodial and maintenance folks for the wall that they built on top of the wall in the auto side of the Kishwaukee building. So again, Bob Rogers not here, but thank you for that. It looks great, and we look forward to getting that painted.
Great, thank you. So this week, Bill and I and Katie were out at Bright Farms for their open house, and our good friend BJ is like rocking it. She's doing an awesome job of providing leadership and proudly walked us around, and we got to learn a lot about how the hydroponic industry is doing things. So that was a very cool experience, and she said she had just hired 2 Kish graduates. So a lot of good connections with industry, and thanks, Matt. Next month, make sure you get those to me so I can get them in the board.
Highlights for next month.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else? That was a long list. It's always amazing to me when people in the community say, oh, it's summer, must be quiet out there at the college. I'm thinking, okay. They haven't come to visit in a while. It's a very bustling, busy place. Yes, Allison.
This actually happened in June. I just don't think I ever reported, but Phi Theta Kappa, our chapter was one of the top 100 chapters in the nation. So that's huge. And just a little more kudos to my NSLS students. They came out for 4 hours yesterday, more training after they came out to our student trustee meeting, or our trustee board meeting the night. Just the level of commitment they have blows my mind. So.
We have to remember all the good things we do every day in support of those students who work so hard to make their futures better. So it's very awesome. Anything else? Joanne.
I also just wanted to thank facilities and maintenance because we completed our first 2 cohorts for Common Ed on campus, and we had 100% pass rate, so everyone got a CDL. They're very happy with us. They're sending about 100 more between now and December, which does mean some revenue, but thank you, because not only did they allow us to use the parking lot and work it out so that we could still meet the needs for the parking for when the field has a sports event, but we also really needed to have an extra vehicle, like a truck, so that people could do their pre-maintenance checks. And we really appreciated that. That really impressed ComEd also. And they also were using the cafeteria a lot, which we didn't know until I went to get my own coffee, and they were saying, who's here? We're selling a lot of coffee and a lot of food for the summer, so that was good. So thank you to everyone for partnering and making that possible.
The wrap for the truck.
Oh, yes, that's true. Joe, do you want to talk about the wrap for the truck? Are you
Joe,
sure?
why don't you come up and say
Come
something?
on.
Joe, come on. Joe.
I'll help you. No, we do want to give a big thank you to marketing for this one, right?
Yeah, we just wrapped we redid the 48-foot trailer that we have at CDL, in the CDL department. I came up with an idea with one of our faculty members and showed it to Katie and Rhonda, and they said, why don't you give it to us, and we'll take a look at it a little closer, and actually came up with a really great idea, and it turned out pretty nice. We just finished wrapping it. The tractor that's with it too, that we just completed with the diesel program over the winter, we got donated, and the tractor's in good shape, and we actually had the tractor included that with the trailer wrap, and it's turned out pretty nice, and we actually parked it out on 38 over the weekend. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but it's looking a lot better than it has been. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe, for your leadership. Did you have something to say?
Just a quick thank you.
I just wanted to thank all the people who participated in Camp Power. Today was the last day that we were scheduled to go out, and for those who don't know what Camp Power is, it's a summer program for students who live in the University Village area. It's a program that has provided services and resources to students and young students, young people who really are at a disadvantage at times. But I think the participants that went today and also Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday really got a chance to experience the opportunities that the college can give to that environment. And these students really enjoyed it. I got a comment today from a young man that I want to go to school, and I think I'm going to go to your school. And so these are the people that we're going to be recruiting in the future. So once again, for everybody who participated today and throughout this week, thank you very much. It was a very good program.
I just want to follow up on that. I had breakfast this morning with Bob Pritchard, and he had talked a little bit about University Village and really a desire for us to get involved, the college to get involved in University Village and helping those folks get education to improve their lives. And I know, Joanne, that you have offered some services, you and your team have offered some services over there, and that's really been helpful. But it might become a bigger initiative for us as we really look to how we help those less fortunate find higher education to get to a better life. So it's good work. It's important work, and it's good to see our college participating in those events. Anybody else? Okay, great. One more here. Woo.
This is not so educational, but it does require a lot of learning and a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. Brooke Miller and myself had a very awesome article written in the Rochelle Environments for our band Soapstone. We are playing a lot this summer. We Kishwaukee Fest, Byron Fest, Corn Fest. But read the article. It's in the Rochelle version of the Environments magazine. It's very, very cool. Peace out, brother.
I'd love to see a copy, because I don't know how to get that magazine. If you could, one of you could email it to me?
I actually brought one to your office.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just say my reading is, but I'll look for it. Thank you.